So we're very fortunate to have Kristin Kvigna from the Norwegian Police, who's here to talk to us on Interpol World Television this evening. Interpol World, you're in Singapore, you're from Norway, it's a long way to come. How important are international organisations and international events such as this?
Well, I think international cooperation is core to our ability to handle transnational crime. We, as a small police force, I would say, in a relatively small country, we are dependent on having partners both in the public and the private sphere to cooperate with in terms of handling both investigations but also the way that we do preventive policing.
Now, public-private cooperation is a cry that I'm hearing more and more. How do we get the police to work with the private sector and the private sector to work with the police and get that common understanding?
Well, first of all, I think that it is not easy. I think we can be very frank about that, because I think we have legal obstacles, we have probably also cultural obstacles, and we have different ways of working, and our missions are very different. But I think we need to sort of find that common platform where we actually can work from. We can always wait for legislation to sort of come together, but I don't think that's going to happen very quickly. So we need to work with what we have currently and then try to sort of from that find a basis of trust. And a basis of trust that is realistic. So we need to be open about what we actually can share. We need to be open about how we're going to use the data that we do receive and what we can do for private as well. But I think the core of it is that we all want the same thing. We want safe communities. And I haven't met a single private manager in industry that didn't want to have exactly that, because that's important for industry as well, because competition, if it's not regulated, if it's not overseen, will be unfair, and so they will lose out. So basically this is in our common good, and we really want the people as a whole to trust us, trust the police, trust government, trust industry, because without that we lay ourselves open to very difficult things that could potentially hurt democracy.
Now, a lot of what you're talking about is to do with domestic policing. We're at an international conference here, and international organised crime is one of the themes. How serious is international organised crime in impacting into domestic situations, and can we get that level of public-private cooperation going on an international basis?
I don't think you will find, I mean, domestic crime is almost a thing of the past, because almost every kind of crime will have an international angle. Could be money going out of the country, could be drugs coming into the country, going out of the country, trafficking in human beings, child sexual exploitation. So you will find international elements in mostly all crime areas. But what we tend to do is that we investigate them domestically and we are cut off when we go abroad for legal reasons, for resources. So to have that sort of link in with the international community in order to tackle international crime as a whole, I think that's really important. And I think also the fact is that we now come to the realization that you cannot investigate yourself out of this. The only way to actually tackle international crime is by prevention. And to do good prevention, you need to have your partners lined up, both in public and in private.
Now, before we sat in front of the cameras, one of the things you were talking about was the importance of innovation in dealing with this. Can you expand your thinking on that side?
Yes, because I think we have limited resources. So Norway has limited resources, as do a lot of other countries. But if we could put them together in a hub where you could have that co-creation, I think we could gain so much more than building separate units in each of our countries. Less costly, of course, probably much more efficient in terms of having a lot of ideas coming in. So all in all, that's a win for us.
Now, do you see that innovation as being technical innovation or innovation in processes and procedures, or a mixture of both?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think we need the techies, but we also need the people that are able to see the processes, the procedures, even legislation, even understanding communities, demographics. So we need all that in that international hub.
Now, we've got the complete audience of the people that have visited here and those that wanted to come here and haven't been able to come, who can watch this. What are the key messages that you want to give to them and say, right people, if I could shake you and say, listen to this, what would the messages be that you say, listen to this?
I think my message would be that this is our common challenge. This is not a challenge for law enforcement. It's not a challenge for industry, not a challenge for government. This is something that we have to do together. And we need to know that we are all placed in the same field, and we need to lay out the rules for that play, and we have to do it properly. And we have to move beyond intentions and start some action. And because I think we're lacking in that, while those who abuse the international domain, those who abuse technology, they have definitely moved past intentions and they are into action.
Kristin, on that note, I don't think we can better it. So thank you very much indeed for talking to us on Interpol World Television. It's been a real pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.